Hi guys, we had some changes to driver CPC as of December 2024, but also February 2025. So let's talk about it. According to a new transport operator newspaper from March 2025, a new report has been published that was last month. And this report states that if the economy picks up, hopefully it will pick up at some point, there will be some massive issues with the amount of drivers we currently have available. So this report states that 40,000 new drivers will be required every year for the next 5 years. This means we will need 200,000 new drivers to make sure that there are no shortages, like the shortages we had in 2021. Bear in mind that in September 2024 there was a record amount of driver CPC cards that was about to expire. I am aware that a lot of people decided not to renew them. A lot of people decided just leave the industry, they just didn't want to do it anymore, but also a lot of people retired. So to make it easier for drivers who want to carry on and want to stay in the industry, but also for drivers who would like to return to the industry, even if their CPC qualifications expired, we have a few changes and different options. Okay, so let's talk about those options. So first thing first, if you have your CPC and you want to carry on and you want to stay compliant, you have two different options. Option number one, as of December 2024, you can go for an international CPC, or you can go for the national CPC. But let's talk about it. Option number one, the international CPC. If you choose this option, you will be able to operate in the UK, but also in Europe. You will need to complete 35 hours of training every 5 years. Each training session must be a minimum of 7 hours long. A maximum of 12 e-learning hours is allowed. If you decide to split your training session, it must be completed over two consecutive days, which means if you start on a Monday, you need to finish on a Tuesday. So that's option number one. Option number two, you can go for the national CPC. And if you choose option number two, you'll be allowed to drive only in the UK. Nowhere else, just the UK. If you choose this option, you will have to complete 35 hours of training every 5 years. Each training session must be at least 3 hours, 30 minutes long, but it's not required for you to complete it over the two consecutive... It's like, guys, come on. English is not easy. You don't have to do it day after day. Yeah, you can start on a Monday and finish on a Friday. 100% e-learning is permitted as long as your training provider is approved. It also allows you 12 hours of e-learning towards your 35 hours. Okay, so now to summarize, international driver CPC, UK and Europe, 35 hours every 5 years. In person, you can split it, or e-learning up to 12 hours. If you go for the national driver CPC, UK only, 35 hours every 5 years, in person or full-time e-learning with flexible formats. Now, second thing, if your qualifications expired and you want to come back, you have 4 different options. So let's talk about those options. As of 1st of February 2025, you have 4 different things that you can do and you will be able to carry on driving. So let's go through them. Option number 1, you need to complete 35 hours of international driving CPC, and then you'll regain your qualifications to drive in the UK and Europe. Option number 2, you need to complete 35 hours of national driving training, and then you'll regain your qualifications, but then you'll be able to drive only in the UK. Option number 3, you can take the 7 hours return to driving module as a part of the international driver CPC. That will allow you to regain your qualifications for the UK only, and then you will have 12 months to complete the rest of the 35 hours, which is 28 hours left. Yeah. Option number 4, you can take a 7 hours return to driving as a part of the national driver CPC training. That will allow you to regain the driving qualification right now, but then you will have 28 hours that you need to complete over the next 12 months. Now, if your qualifications expired and they're over 2 years, if they expired over 2 years ago, you have only one option. So the only option, you must complete the 35 hours of training, national or international, to regain your qualifications. But we will also see changes to the driver's DQC cards. So normally you just had the little blue card, now you'll have 2 different ones. On the international one, nothing will change. On the national one, I have a printout somewhere. It will just state that it's for UK domestic use only. But what it also means, you can have 2 different cards. Because let's say, if you've done your national card for buses, you can drive buses only in the UK. So you'll have the blue card, domestic use in UK only for buses. But if you've done the international CPC qualifications for HGV, you will have another card, which will be the international card. So yeah, this is it. Please let me know in the comments if you believe that this is enough for drivers to stay, or for new drivers to join the industry, or for the old drivers to return.